we are back, and we just finished watching what may be my favorite film of 2024. It is Thelma, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 38 minutes. This comes to us from writer-director Josh Margolin, and we caught this on the buy rent on Prime Video. This stars June Squibb as the titular Thelma Post, a 93-year-old who gets duped by a phone scammer pretending to be her grandson and is extorted.
Well, she gets tricked into giving them $10,000.
$10,000 in cash through the mail. And then she sets out to get her monies back. She's sassy. I loved her. She is like... So first of all, I want to say... Thank you, Josh Margolin, for making this film, because you don't usually get a movie from the senior vantage point.
Yeah. And she's like 93 or
93
something.
in the film, right, because she was 91 when Teddy passed, and she'd been alone for 2 years. And I assumed that she was going to go to the senior home at the end, but she doesn't.
No, she is a independent woman. She likes her independence. She learned in the 2 years since her husband passed away that she liked living alone. She liked being able to do things. And she really doesn't like the idea of, I guess, being entirely dependent on anybody.
Right.
She loves having her grandson come around and teach her how to properly use the computer and whatnot. And her grandson, he does an excellent job. He's very loving. He cares for her. He's super patient. And he's always like, make sure you wear your little life alert bracelet
For
my mental health.
Yeah.
It'll make me feel better. I know you hate it, but it'll make me feel better. And if you ever need to go anywhere, call me up and I will drive you anywhere you need to go. And it's interesting throughout the whole film. Yeah, she wants to do these things by herself. I guess she learns that she doesn't have to, but throughout all of it, she's still, she doesn't have to, but she wants to prove that she's still independent.
Capable.
She's still capable.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely sort of tale where she proves it for the most part. Yeah, that she is.
Yeah.
She does need help though.
Yeah.
And she gets it through the help of I don't know if he was...
His name was Ben. He was like a friend.
He was like the husband of a friend, I believe.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And she was never too impressed with him. What'd she say? He was a little too soft.
Yeah.
But
he comes through for her.
He comes through for her. He's actually living in a facility with a lot of old people, senior center.
And they both have very strong opinions, and they're both right. Like his whole thing was like, I don't want to be alone.
Yeah, I don't want to be alone. I want to be part of a community.
Cheryl, I think was his wife's name.
Mm-hmm.
She took care of him.
And
then Thelma's whole thing was, well, I took care of Teddy, so I was the other person. So I like my independence. I like being... I don't want to be a burden on anybody.
And through the course of her independence, she kind of makes her family crazy because they're just like, where did she go? Where did she go? And the grandson's having like a crisis because he feels responsible for her disappearing, and they don't know where she went. The story is she is going to find her money, get her money back.
Yeah. And I think in that moment when she hears them talk, because she finally gets in touch with her daughter and her son-in-law and the grandson, and she comes to realize that she was scammed. And as she's in the other room, I guess resting, because obviously this was a very traumatic situation for her, she hears how they talk about her. Yeah. And I think in that moment she decides that she's going to get her money back.
She's going to get her money back. She's going to prove that she is capable of being by herself and taking care of herself, because they're very worried that she's going to have another, what was it? Something plantation.
Oh, soup plantation.
Soup plantation incident.
What a terrible name for a place. And I loved how in real time her grandson Danny realizes, I didn't even realize, like, what the hell kind of name is that? Because they're talking to a black woman, and she's like, what is the name of the place? Like, what did you just say? And he's like,
oh yeah, plantation. That's terrible. And that's another thing about the movie. It had some decent humor to it. It was told, what's her name?
June Squibb.
Jane Squibb. She is awesome.
She's
She is so amazing.
Awesome.
She plays her part beautifully. She is just a quintessential grandma.
Yeah.
In all the best ways.
Badass.
But she could be a badass. She's just like, we need to get a gun.
When they see Mona. The sequence with Mona was so sad.
Yeah. Because she could see that as herself.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like, I don't want to become like that. And there's like a sort of a callback to that at the very end.
Yeah.
And even then, it's sort of like, she's going to fight it. She's not going to give in. She's not going to be like, all right, maybe I'll go to Sunny Acres or whatever the place is called.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. I'm going to take care of this. This is a problem that
I can fix.
Mona had. I'm not going to be like Mona.
Yeah. What did you think of the Ben character played by the late Richard Roundtree?
He was great too. He was so good, and he was patient. I mean, Jesus, he put up with a lot. I mean, she stole his scooter.
And she had it destroyed.
Yeah, she destroyed his scooter.
I mean, it wasn't intentional. It was an accident, but still.
But they made a good team.
They did.
They definitely made a good team. It was nice. It was almost like a buddy cop movie.
Well, it was, and then the music too, especially at the end,
music,
right?
Yeah.
It was like
that great sort of like
action-y
70s action soundtrack, you know. This movie, they hit all the right bases. This was really good.
Really, really good. And I think just the idea of telling this story from the vantage point of a 90-year-old.
Yeah.
It was just really refreshing, really fun. This is, to me, the epitome of a family film night entertainment. I think anybody can watch this.
Anybody could watch this. It's a feel-good movie.
Yeah.
It's not violent or anything.
No.
There's no profanity. The humor is light, but not like
syrupy,
saccharine or syrupy. Everybody plays their part well. Parker Posey.
He's great as the daughter. Clark
Gregg
as the son-in-law.
The grandson. I forgot what his name was.
What is his name? Fred Heckinger?
Well, yeah, I think that was his name. Excellent job.
Excellent job.
And like he has this moment too where he sort of like admits how he feels about himself, that he's like a failure.
Yeah. He's a little bitch.
Yeah, he's like, I just feel like a stupid bitch, and they're like, oh no, you just have a visual learning thing, and he's like, visual, yeah, that's what you can call it, but maybe I'm just a stupid little bitch.
Yeah.
That sort of like beating yourself up thing that I'm sure a lot of people have gone through. And also he just feels so guilty about the fact that he let her go. She said, I don't want you coming in there with me.
Yeah.
And then she just disappeared on him. And she's not getting in touch with anybody. And
her phone is off, and her life alert. She
threw the life alert to distract them so that they wouldn't find him.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody does such a great job.
One of my other favorite things in this is like she looks familiar.
Yes.
There's a lot of that.
She runs into like at least two or three
people
who's like, do I know you? And the person's always like, wait a minute, do I know you? Do you know this one? No.
No.
Do you know this one? No.
Although at the end, when they get the ride to their ultimate destination, she actually did know that person.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it had just some really touching moments.
Oh my God, I lost it at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, you really lost it.
I was bawling. Ugh. I didn't expect to get so old. Let that sink in, audience. Time waits for no man or woman.
But yeah, it's a beautiful movie. I really like this movie. I don't want to give anything away. I think people should go along for the adventure.
Sure. Yeah. 1 to 10, what did you give this?
I'd give this a 9.
I would give this a 10 because I don't think there's room for improvement here. I really don't. I found it completely moving and beautiful and lovely, and I'm so gratified by the experience because, again, we don't really look at...
You never see it from this perspective.
If anything, you've got women in Hollywood fighting the aging process. So it's nice to see this badass grandma getting a gun and
but it's also nice because it's like it's not what you'd expect from the badass. This isn't Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Shoot, no.
This is.
Oh my God, where did you pull that from?
That's the only other thing where I think of when I see an old lady with a huge handgun. That's the only. That's my go-to. Yeah.
What was it, Sylvester Stallone?
Sylvester Stallone.
Good Lord.
But this, they're old.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Even at the very end, it's just old people dealing with each other, dealing with the problems of aging. Maybe
everything has changed.
How everything has changed.
Life is not the same.
Maybe part of it I really identified with as far as trying to help an older person use a computer.
Use technology.
Oh my God! You've heard me on the phone with my mom.
Yes, I have.
I do not have the patience of the grandson.
Daniel, no,
I don't. Oh God, it's hard. It's really hard.
It is hard. It's hard as someone who's had that experience, whose parents are no longer here. It's hard to become the parent to the parent. That is such a weird dynamic when it happens. And like in the beginning, again, we'll try not to give too much away, but in the start of the film, when you understand what has happened to Thelma's character, the way that her daughter and son-in-law talk about her it's I don't think they meant to be mean, but it must have been so hard and so embarrassing to have to sit there and listen, because she takes her and it felt like a coping mechanism of her. When she felt overwhelmed, she would just take those off and sit in silence and try to figure things out. And
well, you don't want to. Nobody wants to feel you're incapable or you're useless or you're a burden.
Right.
And especially, what's her name in the movie?
Thelma.
The movie's called Thelma. Maybe am I getting old?
We're all getting
old. But especially for Thelma, because she was doing things on her own. She was trying to stay up to date on things. I mean, she was real good with her using her phone to basically communicate and also do that thing with the
hearing aids.
The hearing aids.
That was amazing. I never would have thought of that.
That was really clever.
Clever, yeah.
And
just, I mean,
let me finish. And just like you said, she's in the other room, and now these people are having a serious discussion about how no, you are not capable. You have become a burden now.
Yeah. We have to have a discussion about where we're going to put you.
What are we going to do to make you less of a burden for us?
Yeah.
And it's not done in a mean sort of way where like, God, just throw her in a goddamn home or anything. These people genuinely care about you. They genuinely loved her.
Right.
But they were very worried and very concerned.
And if anything, Danny was fighting his parents. Like, no, we're not putting grandma there. I can take care of her, or I can look after her.
Well, I think because he saw her more than they did, so he knew what she was like, and he knew her personality,
right,
and how she wouldn't like a place like that. Yeah, so that was a very touching scene as far as her listening to that, and just eventually, I think that was the impetus for her to be like, well, I'm going to prove to them that I am not useless. I am not a burden. I'm going to get that money back, because they were ready to write it off. They were just like, you got conned. What's done is done.
Right. Yeah, because even when they go to the police to report it, the guy is not very helpful, and he's like, well, you might as well just take the L and just move on.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's $10,000, sir.
Yeah.
I think I also loved how in the beginning you get a sense of Thelma. She keeps herself busy. She's doing her needlework. She takes time to do her little her little bike exercise. Yeah. She goes places.
She is fighting just dwindling away.
Yeah.
She's not going to just wither away. When she goes, it's going to be like living life and then gone.
Or in her sleep.
It's not going to be some sort of prolonged.
No.
It's not going to be Mona.
No. The sequence with Mona was so sad.
It was.
It really, really was sad, because you could see that happening to so many people. And even when Danny's walking the hallways of the nursing home, and you see the little bits of people, some people they seem fine. Other people, you could tell more diminished.
Yeah.
And
like
it's
that guy who just would sit and stare.
Starey Gary. Was that his name?
You had that whole conversation with his girlfriend, and he's just like, oh my God.
He's been there the whole
There's
time.
a man who's been here the entire time.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed this. Thank you for watching this with me. I really, this is a June Squibb appreciation post. So we're going to post this with our Inside Out 2 review.
Oh, well,
because she
appears in it for a couple of
maybe 2 minutes total, but
still it's a little June Squibb.
She is, yes.
She was also one of the greatest parts of what was it, Hubie Halloween? with her awesome T-shirt collection.
Seriously, Netflix, you need to get those T-shirts up on your store. I would buy one of each. They were so dirty. I love them. I can't wait to be that woman. Just completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
She was fantastic. Again, if you it's not for streaming yet, but for $6.99, you can't go wrong. Get this.
No, this was a good one.
This was a great one.
Well worth the price.
Yeah.
If you want to just watch something that's funny, that's heartwarming, that's wholesome, great performances all around, great story. Yeah, you're gonna love Thelma.
Yeah. How could you not? She's the best.
Yeah.
I hope June Squibb lives to be 1,000. Honestly, she is a fucking treasure. You better nominate her for an Oscar. That's all I'm saying. She was fantastic in this.
Yeah.
She was really fantastic. This came out in June. Again, it's to buy rent on Prime. You won't regret it. Absolutely check out 2024's Thelma. You will not be disappointed. And even though this is, I guess, like a family drama because it's a situation that happens with Thelma, I think another nice thing about the story is the idea of friendships, her old friendships, her new friendships. And so having said that, I want to dedicate this episode of the podcast to an old friend and a new friend, but both very, very dear friends. To my friend Suzy, who I've known since high school. I absolutely adore you. I'm thinking of you and I hope to see you soon. And one of my new friends, but also just a very, very dear friend, Angie. I don't know what I did to deserve you. You are just A1 and I absolutely love you. And I'm sorry I missed you this last visit, but I hope to see you soon. And with that, we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.